Hello, everybody! Is the mic working first time for a change? Yes, it is! Hello, 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 hello. How are we all out there? Good evening, Mark. Hello, Philip. How are you both? Hope you're all doing very well, having a good time out there. Happy Wednesday. Feels like it's been like a month since we did a live stream. And I know it hasn't, but it's been a while. Has it been that long? Very well, thank you. Good. Good, good, good. I'm very glad to hear that. Yes, tonight, as some of you may have noticed, the title of tonight's stream is Wargaming versus gaming. No, it's not. It's the other way around. Gaming versus wargaming. Which is more expensive? And I hope to be able to turn up the beats a little bit. Got a bit of a metal situation going on tonight. Yes, tonight we're going to be discussing this. But we're also going to be discussing, because I want to make a video about this. I want to make a proper, well thought out, well researched, well discussed video all about this topic of conversation, because I am very keen to figure out with all of you tonight what the most balanced way of figuring out the answer to this question is, because it's very easy for me to say it's one way or the other. Hello, Lincoln Park 988. Hello, Dave. While tabletop wargaming can become expensive over time, depending on the game, I feel that gaming is not worth the money since you technically don't own the games you buy from Steam and can't sell them. That's an interesting point, Zizrik. Please tell me if I've said that right. Yes. So this is the question. What's fair? What's a fair way of discussing this? Because it's very easy to come up with examples and reasons as to why your favorite thing / the thing you want to dunk on and be mean about is cheaper / more expensive. It's a very easy way of doing it, because we can talk about gaming as being cheaper if we assume that you've already got a balling system. So if you're a PC gamer and you've got a balling system, you can say gaming's cheaper because all you're doing is buying games. But that's not true. Same as I can say that wargaming is cheaper because I've got all of the paints and all of the kit and the lights and all of this stuff, and all I have to do is buy one box of miniatures per month. It's the same thing. So we need to... Brother, Tolrex is a gamer. Hello, Tolrex. How are you? Lincoln Park says, will you paint the new Glorfindel? I'd love to paint him. I've just got to find the money to do so, because I've got to buy him. I was not sent him. I was sent Rumil and Orifin. Hello, Mikey's Wargaming. So this is what I want to do tonight, guys. Is I want to have a chat with all of you, and I want to figure out, because I want to make this video, right, where we talk about this question and we figure out what you get with bang for your buck, but we need to figure out what or how many bucks it is you're going to be spending. What do you get out of that? What is the amount of time you get for the money that you spent? Because I feel like that's an important part of it. One of the things I used to argue at university was in my sort of second and third year, when I sort of died down on the going out quite as much, that, you know, I would say that, you know, a night out costs in excess of £25 to £30, and if I buy a game, then for £25 or £30, then, you know, I am getting sort of 10, 15, 20 hours worth of enjoyment out of said game, and out of a night out, you get 4 to 5 hours. So monetarily, the investment was better in a computer game, and it would have been in Warhammer as well. But this is the question I hope to get on board with all of you guys, so that we can make the video fair. Because I don't want to make a video that's just like a grand sweeping conclusion based on a outcome that I want. If you see what I mean? Do you see what I mean? JB says, depends if you just play a war game or embrace the painting and modelling where the time easily builds up. Tolric says, today I played my first game of 40k. Oh, awesome, Tolrix. And you said you enjoyed it. More than gaming. Well, that's awesome. Bismath says, hey, off topic, just wanted to say it was nice seeing you turn up on Tabletop Ready. I really like both your channels. I love Tabletop Ready. He's a good man. And he asked me if I would do that clip, and I was like, it's a great idea. Just let me do it. It was fantastic. He's a great guy. Really talented. You guys should sub to his channel if you have not done already. Zrick says, Zizrick. It's much more satisfying looking at the miniatures you have painted, knowing that you put effort into it and can feel proud of it, but achievements in games don't feel the same way. That's fair. I think gaming can be more expensive. I've spent like 2,000 euros on Dota 2 cosmetics. Artu, my man. Such a complex subject. Both are super important to my mental well-being, but I feel way more relaxed and zen when painting / hobbying. That's awesome, Philip. I mean, I'm the same. Mr. A2 the 40k homeboy is here. He says, sup dudes, and he says, what have I missed? You haven't missed anything yet. You're going to be part of me explaining what the format of tonight is. Tonight, I am on a fact-finding mission, or at least a parameters-finding mission, shall we say. If you want to be part of this, or you just want to support me, make sure you click that like button on the stream, because it lets people know that we're having fun, and lets YouTube know that we're having fun, and then hopefully they pay me more money in revenue from the ads and stuff like that. So do hit the like button. And that's not just you, A to the 40k homeboy. That's all of you. All of you out there. There we go. Like counter going up. That's what I like to see. Yes, so I think... So I've been having a conversation with a couple of really good friends of mine about this very thing. Because I think one of the things that... the Games Workshop gets flack for is its price, and you know, I'm not going to comment on that. Rightly or wrongly, they charge whatever they want. I feel like nobody's doing a good deep down into why that price is. It's just that it's too much. You see what I mean? And like, you know, I personally think the investment's fine in the money that I spend on Wargaming and Warhammer. But anyway, let me just open my beverage. We have some fantastic news at Warhipster Towers. You see, we finally have a fridge that goes colder than 12 degrees. So this is what I want to get into, right? Because as Philip says, it's a really complex subject, right? And I think, and do tell me if I'm wrong, everybody. I think it starts out with, what is it you want to do? And I feel like that is, you know, that is a relevant question based on whether you're talking about wargaming or whether you're talking about gaming. If you want to play video games, you can do it for really cheap. If you want to play new releases, it gets more expensive. If you want to play classics and stuff like that, it's less expensive. If you want to play it on console, it's less expensive than it is to play on PC. But it's cheaper to play on PC, older, cheaper games, than it is to play AAA titles. At which point, AAA titles become more expensive on PC. Now, the same thing applies to whether it comes to wargaming. If you want to, you know, play, you know, super hyper competitive Warhammer, for example. My reference is Warhammer, right? But like, if you want to play super competitive Warhammer, that's the most expensive way of doing Warhammer. It just is. Because presumably, if you have a desire to play hyper-competitive Warhammer, you have a desire to win at hyper-competitive Warhammer. And so you'll be chasing the meta. Now, if you want to build and paint and create an army that is competitive so that you can play at events, but you want to spend more time on the army, that can be a lot less expensive. If you just want to paint some miniatures and maybe play the odd game, that is super cheap. Reza is here. He says, I think it's similar. Oh, we did that already. It works out similar to Wargaming. Maybe Wargaming is slightly more pricey for me. But is it, my friend? I agree hobbying is way more peaceful for me. Gaming is so stressful because I have to win, otherwise I don't enjoy, lol. Okay, so Rez is a really great example of what this question aims to answer, right? Because this is the... When I've been examining this question, right, I've been thinking about the format of this upcoming video of being something like we set ourselves a budget and we see what we can get across both gaming and wargaming. But how do we set that budget so that it's fair? Because if I set a budget of $2,000 for gaming, you'll get a ballin' ass setup and you'll get a ballin' ass Warhammer experience. And $2,000 on a hobby in one expense, right? This is we're talking about setup costs here. $2,000 in one expense is not something that the majority, the vast majority, the overwhelming majority can afford to do. I'm thinking of the person who is sat with, you know, wanting to get into something for the first time, wanting to do something for their first time. So there has to be some assumptions made about what that individual does have, and there has to be some there has to be a fair way of cutting it, right? So for example, if I say set a budget of 350, 500, 600, 800, but I say that the gamer doesn't have a TV, it becomes a lot more tricky for that person. Do you see what I mean? I'd be interested to know your thoughts, guys. Let me know down in the chat. It's very much on your approach to either. If you buy an Xbox Series S and just use Game Pass, then it is most likely cheaper. If you just buy a single kill team and only play with that, then it's cheap. Yes, Daniel. This is really so hard. So this is why this debate's really important, because this is what I'm trying to figure out. This is why I want to make a really good video for all of us to kind of be really sat there and really, really happy about. You see? I agree, hobbying difficult for me to compare because I don't do gaming. Fair enough, Dave. Do you have any hobbies that you would say are comparable? Because I've been trying to think about other ones, you know. Like Alice really likes doing gardening. So how much money does she spend on gardening stuff, and how much money could she spend on gardening stuff? That's a big question. But then is gardening a hobby? I mean, it is a hobby. It can be a hobby, but it can also just be mowing the lawn once every 6 months, right? Well, less than that, because then you'll be, you know, super overgrown. What if you have a problem like me and want to buy all the minis, Philip? Yeah, well, I mean, I'm the same, right? I'm one of those who takes ages painting to the highest standard. I can then play casual games just for fun. That's fair enough, Dave. Between paints, models, terrain, time, and dice, my Thousand Suns army cost way more than my gaming laptop. That's interesting, Daniel. That's very interesting. What did you spend on your gaming laptop, if you don't mind my asking? Even if it's just a ballpark figure. You don't have to give us the main thing. And also, how long ago? I'd be interested to know that. Gaming does offer more flexibility in terms of what games you like to play, i.e. RTS, FPS, Sim. If you invest in 40k, you're stuck. Well, you are stuck with 40k at that point, James. Actually, no, you could play Kill Team. Wargaming cheaper to get into, but to do it full on more expensive. Well, and there we go. What is doing it full on? Because I don't mind sharing this, guys. As you know, I did some fundraising earlier on in this year in order to upgrade some gear. And I spent over $1,000 of that money, and some of my own, on setting up this whole thing. So we've got the camera here, we have a monitor here, we have the 2 lights, we have this desk, and this computer here. I spent a lot of money on it. And this is where it's interesting, because on this computer I can game. I can game very well. I've played Halo Infinite on this computer. I've played Total War on this computer. I've played Battle Sector for all of you on this computer. I've done a lot of really cool stuff with this computer. I've edited videos. I've created graphics. It's a really good tool for me. It was absolutely worth the investment. And, you know, you guys really helped out with that. That is a thing that happened, right? So I spent that amount of money on this computer. Now, I would be interested to know how much it cost for me, and I should figure this out for the video, and let me know if this is something you'd be interested in, but how much it cost me to put together my Demons army if I had bought all of it. Some of it was really generous birthday presents, some of it was secondhand, some of it was cast-offs, and some of it was stuff that you get in sets that you didn't really want. So I accumulated a lot of it before I'd done anything by various other outlets and stuff. So that was one way of me saving a bunch of cash. But if I was to buy it all new, and I don't mean like brand new, because you can obviously go to a reseller, an independent gaming store, or you could go to eBay where stuff can get even cheaper, maybe if it's built or unbuilt, and that kind of thing. But I would be interested to know that. And we can figure that out tonight if we want to. So, you know. $1,700-ish about a month ago. Okay, right. So, Daniel, you are perfect. You are perfect person that this is for. I have several hundred paints. 100 paints? You've got more than me, my friend. Hang on, have you? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What's 9 times 24? Okay, I have several hundred paints. Because I got all these ones here as well. Those are spares or stuff that's coming on. Not all of these are unique, but I see what you mean. 3,000 points of 1k Suns. I bought all the contrast paints thanks to you, lol. I'm sorry, Daniel. Worth it, though, because you'll use them a lot. Like I do. On everything. All of the time. Permanently. Hello, Kataro. I'm the same as you, Philip. I've got the minis, but no one to game with. Yeah, see, that's the problem. I think in terms of hours per pound/dollar spent, gaming could easily come out on top, but it depends on how long you spend painting and how often you get an army out to play a war game. There we go, Copper. Again, this is another consideration as part of this video, because, like I said, this is a stream. There will be a video about this. I really wanted to just use tonight to get your advice on what we kind of say and how we set the parameters for this video, so that we can I'll do the research, but so that we can come up with a really good video that also helps people make decisions on getting into wargaming, rather than just, you know, going to YouTube and searching Warhammer and then just seeing 55 videos of everybody saying, "Yeah, just too expensive," which it isn't. Well, in my opinion, it's not. To others, it might be. Most online games are clever, free, but pay to win. Pay to win players allow the freebies to play. It appeals to the win-win types, and that is very deliberate. Yes, you are correct. AOS Psy. Warzone being a great example of that, with the Rose skin and the various blueprints for things like the STG, for the STG meta a little while ago. That's died now. I don't know what the... Well, I mean, there was an update to Warzone today, so I don't know what the meta will be today. But my gaming is on console. I've got the PS5 and Xbox X and have a very good TV. But that is a fraction of the pounds I have invested into model make, Warhammer, Gunpla, and Planes. That's interesting, Daniel. Do you reckon you could... Because, like, PS5, how much is it now? Because I've got a PS5. I can't remember how much I spent on it, though. PS5. It's $449. $449.99. So I've bought PlayStation 5, and the games that I've played on it have been Ghost of Tsushima, Elden Ring. These are PS5 titles, because I've got a bunch of PS4 titles, but I guess Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but that was free. I've played Call of Duty on it, but that was Warzone and that was free. So I've bought two brand new games, and they're $59.99 usually. So 60, split the difference if you get it cheaper. So let's call it £50 each. So on my PlayStation, I spent £549 on it so far, plus PlayStation Plus, which was already carried over from my PlayStation 4. Which is why it's hard for me to answer this question, right? Because I already have the console. So if I buy one game a month, but I try and build 2,000 point armies per month, I can say, gaming's cheaper, haha, Games Workshop, you suck. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that with this conversation. And I don't want to do that with this video. Gaming lasts as long as the hardware/OS support. I can't see people running games from 30 years ago as easily as using models from 30 to 40 years ago, says JB. JB, you are absolutely correct. This is a part of it as well. Because the budget way of doing gaming is to buy a console. Because it stays relevant for longer than PC hardware does. Because games get more and more expensive in terms of hardware requirements. So, while the RTX 3090 might be an excellent graphics card now, it won't be, theoretically, in 4 years. I mean, it'll still be a really good graphics card, right? But you don't know what's going to come out in 4 years' time. If we've got a new edition of 40K coming next year, if we make that estimation, right? If a new 40K edition is coming next year, which life cycle terms it probably is. Can I still use my demons by the end of 10th edition, which would be in 3.5 years at this point? Well, 3 years and 9 months, but so 4 years. Yes, I can. Can I still play whatever the 4 years time Cyberpunk 2077? Bad example, I know, because it was a disaster. But can I still play that on my 3060 that I've got in here? No. I mean, I can play it, but I can't play it at high fidelity. Whereas my Demons army can give me a high fidelity Demons game every time I play it, right? Veneer Aben Anza says, pick an army. Do not get sidetracked with other armies. P.S. Do not buy Codex books. I like buying Codex books, but fair enough. In my opinion, GW plastic is not too expensive, but most of the Forge World stuff is. I would not count Titans, etc. on this, as I think they are luxury products. Well, that's interesting, isn't it, R2? Because all of it is a luxury, because none of it is a basic good. But I see what you mean. Those are like super premium on top of a premium that you're already paying for a premium good as a hobby, which is a luxury experience anyway, because it's not a basic good, because you don't need wargaming or gaming or anything like that to survive. You know, that's the difference. Because that's part of this as well. I've seen this come up a lot of times of people saying, you know, wargaming is not a luxury. And it's like, well, it is. Because it's not a basic good. A basic good is food, water, electricity, gas. It's those things. You've got basic goods and you've got everything else which is luxury goods. That's the way it is. But I see what you mean, my friend. Maxime says, wargaming, no doubt. Interesting. I can't tell you the amount of videos I've seen and the amount of posts I've seen of like, oh, this isn't a luxury. And it's like, no, it is. It's not a basic human right. If it was, it would be amazing. If the constitution of the world said everybody has the right to clean water and wargaming, it would be, you know, fair enough. This is way too expensive, but it's not a basic good. So getting mad that your luxury item, then this is the confusion over the word luxury, right? Because luxury, we use it to determine something that's like luxurious living, right? So like 5-star hotels or flying first class, and yet that is luxury. That's luxurious living. That's living a life of luxury. But anything that isn't a basic good is a luxury good, if you see what I mean. Does that make sense? Go to the Dole office to pick up your weekly Marines. I mean, wouldn't that just be something? Tournament Seeker's allowance. There must be a reality where wargaming is a basic need and human right. We must find this reality and go there. Yes, Vanir. I mean, yes. In the concept of the multiverse, somewhere, wargaming is used as a basic fundamental human right, and everybody is doing it. So therefore, you have a right to cheap access to wargaming toys, and paints and glues and sprays and all of that stuff. GW make that best product and has the best ecosystem, so yeah, charge a premium. It's earned. Yeah, so this is kind of what I want to say, is that, like, part of this video, and do let me know if you guys think that this is a fair option, right? Like, within gaming, video gaming, you know what I'm talking about. Why am I doing this? Within video gaming, you've got what I would call, you've kind of got premium video gaming, you've got normal video gaming, you've got mobile video gaming, you've got budget video gaming, right? Budget video gaming is, you know, busting out that busted console, from, you know, finding them at the car boot sale, you know, stuff like a Sega Mega Drive or a PlayStation 2 or something like that, hoping it still works, and then buying those games and playing those. That's budget video gaming. Or even if you already have a smartphone, playing all your games on your smartphone. That's budget video gaming, right? Because you can video game on your phone for free. You can video technically for free, although you have purchased the phone in some way, shape, or form. In tabletop wargaming, Games Workshop produces a premium product. Whether or not you agree with the quality of the rules or whatever, you know, these are words that are not designed to have an emotive reaction, right? But they design a premium war game because, yes, there are cheaper war games out there. Those cheaper war games are generally cheaper for a reason. The miniatures might not be of the same quality. The packing materials might not be of the same quality. The long-term established community of that game might not be wide. The roadmap of support for that game might not be long. All these kind of things. You've got lots and lots of different factors that go into how much a war game costs to create. Something like a board game, right? That you can create a board game for very reasonably cheap, and you can buy some board games very cheaply because they're not really going to be creating add-ons and expansions to that board game. Something like, I mean, Monopoly is a bad example because it's quite premium because it's, you know, but Monopoly is something that, like, if you've got a Monopoly set, you've got a Monopoly set, you're good to go. You know, that type of thing. Pablo says, where have you bought the shelves for paints in the background? They're from Tabletop Combat. I'll get you the link. This question has come up a few times now. I'll just literally grab the product link for you. The exact one. Painting, modeling, paint racks. It is this one. It is the Citadel paint shelf. There you go. There you go, Pablo. Friendly neighborhood Warhipster. Dropping links. This subject hurts my tiny brain. Best stick to both, methinks. Well, I mean, this is the thing as well, is a lot of people have this conversation in order to drive you away from something. And it's like, that shouldn't be the point. Right? GW models tend to appreciate over time due to the crazy folks on eBay, whereas games depreciate more with some exceptions. Bring up that YouTube clip, Atari Ping Pong from 1972. I mean, my grandfather had an Atari machine. He didn't play it, but, you know, my parents and that, they had an Atari for ping pong. I don't know where it's gone, but it's, you know, it exists out there, and I have played it. Great fun. Couldn't make a YouTube channel out of it. I think it does, Pablo. I think TT Combat are within. Yeah, it ships to the EU. They do ship to the EU. There's free shipping outside the UK for orders over £100, but if you're going to buy painting shells, you're not going to be buying £100 worth. These shells stock 72 Citadel paints. They fit a contrast paint size, but the old shade paint, so for example, this contrast medium pot. I believe I disconnected briefly there. I do apologize. Yes, Pablo, they do ship to the EU. Also, just want to say thanks for the Raven Guard painting guide. Black contrast over blue contrast. Easy to bang out a 30k army. You are very welcome, sir. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm glad that helped. Warhipster, Imperial Fist contrast. What paint to cover? Mistake. Uriel yellow? Question mark. Yes, I would say so. Where's my Imperial Fist? Here he is. In the video, I highlighted it with Flash Gets Yellow, didn't I? I did one with Flash Gets and one with Phalanx Yellow. I didn't like the Phalanx Yellow, it was too bright. Yeah, Flash Gets Yellow. So, yeah, Uriel Yellow would probably... After it's been shaded with Cassandora Yellow, yeah, Uriel Yellow will probably work. Or even before that. Uriel Yellow is probably your best bet. Especially if you do it in like that glaze format that I often recommend. So just kind of thin it down. Yellow's a little bit temperamental though, so instead of doing like 5 or 6 parts water to 1 part paint, do 2 or 3, 4 at a push. Just be careful with how much water, because the yellow paints generally tend to end up green if you thin them too much. It's just all the pigment separates. So yeah. Back to the topic at hand. So, I think, personally, to get into wargaming and to get into gaming, wargaming is cheaper and you get a better bang for your buck. Based on my initial thoughts and my initial budgeting. So things like, what do you need to paint miniatures? Well, you need brushes, you need paints, and you need something to hold your water, and you need something to thin your paints down on. You need something to prime. You could do that by hand, you could do that with an airbrush, you could do that with a rattle can. Depends on what you want to do. Rattle cans for me are the best. The airbrush is a very expensive investment up front to just do with priming, but worthwhile in the long run. But if you're getting into something, are you necessarily the first thing going to do buy an airbrush? No, you're not. That's not what you're going to do. Because the route into wargaming, as much as people don't really want to admit it, usually the route for wargaming is that you see Warhammer or a Games Workshop on the high street. It's not often that people get into wargaming. As I'm not saying they never do, but it's not often that people go, I want to try something where I play a game of war on a tabletop with miniatures that I can build and paint. That's rare. And they'll usually do that, if they are going to do that, that's because they've had a reference from something. So something like Dungeons and Dragons might have been a reference there, or a film, or a TV show, or something like that. Or like they're just reading all about something that's been discovered, right? So a great route now would be something like somebody getting into Game of Thrones, discovering that there is a board game, and then discovering that there is a tabletop wargaming, learning all about tabletop wargaming, and thus getting into Game of Thrones, you see? Because IP is something that sells additional merch. That's what those things are. Star Wars Legion, great example. A Song of Ice and Fire, great example. They are merchandise for a brand, which is an IP that we are investing in because we like it. Whereas Warhammer 40,000, Age of Sigmar, Warhammer 40k's had a better shake of it, because you might have, as a younger person, played something like Space Marine or Dawn of War, or you might have played Total War Warhammer, something like that. Maybe something, something might have drawn in your eye. A lot of people point to free animations on YouTube as being a great recruitment tool. They're not. They did not drive thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of people in. A lot of them were rewatches by people like myself who just really liked to watch them, right? But that doesn't mean that they didn't recruit new customers who wanted to learn more about it. So Warhammer has been this thing where it has self-promoted itself in terms of its growth. And you self-promote yourself by having people walk into the store. Typically, in the digital age, Games Workshop is behind on the digital age. It is. Like, its presence on the internet is not... It doesn't have parity with how much time people spend on the internet in terms of being able to access Games Workshop's IP. Do you know what I mean? So, YouTubers like myself might think that we're reaching loads and loads of people. We're not. We're not reaching. There is not a Warhammer YouTuber that I am aware of, or a tabletop wargaming YouTuber that I am aware of that has the same kind of YouTube or social impact as massive YouTubers such as Jacksepticeye, right? Who has nearly 30 million subscribers. And I don't know any Warhammer YouTubers that have gone past 1 million. I don't think any of them have. If anybody knows one, please let me know. Marvel Crisis Protocol is a great example. Sorry, I always forget Marvel Crisis Protocol. But Marvel Crisis Protocol is something that has great marketing value because of how big Marvel is. If the DC Cinematic Universe was just as good and had as great and wide appeal as the Marvel Universe, we would probably have a DC Crisis on Infinite Earths war game that would be just as popular. But MCP is blowing up right now, and it's really cool. I want to get into it, but money, I don't have any. Hero Quest and Space Crusade TV adverts were a great recruitment back in the day. Yes. Squidmart and Luton 09 are probably the biggest, but under 1 million subs. Yeah, I mean, there's some really big people. Mini Wargaming, they're very big. Tabletop Tactics, they're very big. But none of them have 1 million subs. And 1 million subs is a lot. But if you look at the biggest YouTubers, they've got 20 million plus. 10 million plus. Even somebody with 5 million is technically considered small if you compare upwards. Whereas Warhammer, if a YouTube channel for Warhammer went over 1 million or went past 5 million, it's made it. Tabletop Wargaming, if it goes past 5 million, it's a big deal. It's no longer slightly niche. And this is where things like the Eisenhorn TV show, if that comes out and if that's successful and that does well, it might happen. It's not Rant Hammer. No, Chewy. No, tonight we're talking about... Tonight I'm trying to get everybody's help to make a video. Is what we're trying to do. And that's by having this conversation about which is cheaper, gaming versus wargaming. Because I'm gonna do a video that is about this. But I'm trying to figure out, with all of you, and also with all of your help, about how to make that question, how to answer that question in a fair way without skewing it. Because I can say, right, so I've probably been over this, but maybe not quite in so many words, but I can say, I'm a PC gamer, and I really want to play Elden Ring on my PC on ultra graphics. How much money will it cost to get a PC that does that? Yeah, thousands. On ultra graphics, specifically on ultra graphics. If I want to play Elden Ring on low, and I don't mind about, you know, loading times or bad frame rates or, you know, the game looking like, you know, a smear. If I don't mind about that, I can do it. But if I specifically say I want to play Elden Ring on a PC on ultra graphics, it will cost me £2,500 to £3,000 to do that. To get the AAA experience. And for the same amount of money, I would prosper for many, many, many years if I spent all of that on Warhammer at the same time. And that's the question. You know? Wes Hammer went from big number on TikTok to almost 400k subs on YouTube in like 6 months, which is impressive, but like you say, a drop in the pond. Yeah, it is impressive. He's done well, Wes Hammer. But 400k is not massive. I mean, it is in tabletop wargaming and Warhammer. It's huge. That puts him right up there with the top performers in Warhammer and tabletop wargaming. But in the grand scheme of the world, it's nothing. It's just the way it is. Philip doesn't play his Game Boy. I don't play my Game Boy anyway. I know where it is. It's on this shelf up here. I have one game for it still remember. No, I have two. And one of them is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, which is great. So this is the because this is part of it, right? Sure, you've raised a great point. How deep do you go? Because at a certain point, self-control comes into it. This is not me telling you off. This is not me doing anything like that, right? But the minimum to... What can you get for... If you want to be a competitive gamer, right? You want to go to tournaments and play competitive match play Warhammer. You've got to look at who are the top performing factions, for example. Let's say Tyranids. I don't know if they still are, but let's say Tyranids. In order for me to get a top performing Tyranid army, let's do it now. Let's look at it live. I'm gonna go to Tyranid 9th edition net list. From the 13th of May. Yeah, that'll do. Snapshot in time. Okay, and we'd like to send you push notifications. No, Bell of Lost Souls. You cannot send me push notifications. Go away. Okay, so we have 4 Tyrant Guard, a Neurothrope, Winged Hive Tyrant, Tyranid Warriors, Tyranid Warriors, Tyranid Warriors, a Maleceptor, Pyrovores, one Pyrovore, and 2 units, 3 Pyrovores, Venomthropes, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 10, 15 Raveners. Interesting. Then another Hive Tyrant, and then some Gargoyles. Okay. Interesting. Oh, thank you, Mr. Homeboy. Your subscription is very much appreciated. I've got some messages in the chat here. I have a Dell Alienware gaming PC, £3,000-ish. Now can't get Windows 11 or any graphics card updates as too old. It's less than 4 years old. Oh, man. See, I have the same thing. Well, not the same thing, but I have a gaming laptop that I bought in 2016. 2017, with the express desire to play Total War 2, and it ran it just. And no, it was Battlefield Gothic 2. It did run that quite well. It didn't run Total War 2 very well, but it ran it fine. But I bought this laptop 5 years ago. It is now terrible. You cannot play games on it. I've streamed that laptop on this channel. It's what we did Space Marine on. It's what we did the stream with Rez on Total War. And Reza, if you're still here, we need to do another Total War stream. That Tyranids list would be totally different a couple of weeks later. Yeah, we need to find an accurate, up-to-date list. Not from May. Come on now. I want a July. June, that'll do. Fine. The unbeatable list. Is it unbeatable? It's probably beatable. So what have we got then? So we've got Tyrant Guard, Zoanthropes, Neurothrope, Winged Hive Tyrant, Gargoyles, Warriors, Maliceptor, Harpy, Harpy. Another Hive Tyrant, Tyranid Prime, Tyranid Warriors, Venomthropes. Can you take more than one Hive Tyrant now? I don't think you can you? Yeah, the point is that they're always changing. Yeah, no, yeah, sure. But I feel like, you know, it's a close example of something where you could make a video about. You know, if a game is coming out, and a great example of this right now for me is God of War. God of War Ragnarok. I am more excited for that than I am anything else in my life currently. It's my birthday, and I love my birthday coming up in September, and I don't even care about it because God of War is coming out in November. Because God of War 4 is one of my favourite games of all time. It might even be my favourite game of all time. God of War Ragnarok is coming out soon. Now, if I wanted to play God of War, if I didn't already have the PlayStation 5, I would be looking at buying a PlayStation 5 to play God of War Ragnarok. So I would be looking at spending £500 to play one game. So that is a snapshot in time, right? So if we're looking to play, say, a weird route into Warhammer being something like your mates all went to a Wargaming tournament and you want to get in on the next one, so you decide to join in. How much money do you have to spend in order to do that? So if we set a benchmark of, in order to play God of War on a PlayStation 5, I need to spend £510. Can I get a competitive 40k army for the same amount of money? Or is it more expensive? That is the question. Maybe that's what I base this video around. Because I know that God of War will give me 80, 90, 100 hours worth of joy. I know it will. It just will. You can't tell me otherwise. You can't. That is time is quite a huge factor. Are you buying a painted army? Well, so, Chewy, maybe you would have to buy a painted army in order to afford it. But would it look like how you wanted it in your head? I feel like it'd be more expensive for the army, minis plus equipment to build and paint. Maybe. I need something that I know the points of to do this. I mean, Space Marines are always a good example. Let me just descend into my phone. Actually, do you know what? Let's just do demons. Let's do my demons list. Let's do my 2,000 points demons list that I ran the last... No, that's all my painted demons. We don't want that. Let's do my demons list that I ran at the last tournament that I went to. Right? The Slanesh demons one. No, that's not it. That's one 1,000 points. Why don't I have this list? God damn it, I'm going to have to build the list. Alright, hang on. Go away. Not you. You stay right there. Like the stream if you haven't already. Right, so my last competitive demons list that I went to, my last 2,000 points, was Be'lakor. It was a Keeper of Secrets. It was 3 units of Demonettes. It was 3 units of Fiends at 3 Fiends a pop, which was 1,190 points. I then had forces. We add 1k demons, chaos demons. This is riveting content, I know. It's a man looking at his phone. So the other thing I had was another patrol detachment, and it was a Lord of Change in that detachment. So we then have configuration. It is Chaos Allegiance. It is Tzeentch Demons. So it is a Lord of Change, and it was a unit of 20 horrors, I want to say. It is. And then we had fast attack, we had screamers, and we had 9 of those. And apparently I'm 120 points short. I'm missing something here. Oh, it would have been all of the extra stuff that I had. Oh no, I had a... It's all coming back to me now. I had that in there. Right. Okay. I only had 6 fiends. And then I had a bunch of extras on top. So like the Blissbringer and the Icon and the instruments. It all stacks up, guys. Yes. There we go. Right, so, in order to buy this army, let's go to gamesworkshop.com. So, it would be in... Let's go 40k. And we want Armies of Chaos, Chaos Demons. We've got £510, right, for God of War. Okay, so, we had Screamers of Tzeentch. We had 9 of them. We had 6 of those. So... That is 21 times 2. That's £42 we've spent so far. We had Fiends. We had 2 units of those, so £32.50 plus £32.50 equals £107. We're a fifth of the way there. We had Pink Horrors. We had 2 of those, so plus 26 plus 26. Plus 24, plus 24, plus 24. I don't mean to alarm anybody out there, but we're already on £231. Did I add the Screamers? I did. Yes. Then we have a Kairos Fate Weaver, because that's the one that's on front, but it's a Lord of Change. Kairos Fate Weaver. We had a Keeper's Secrets. We had... Be'lakor is not there. Where's the Contorted Epitome? It's not there either. Right, hang on. That's £32.50 plus £32.50. And Be'lakor. He's £90 plus 90. Okay. So, for anybody following along at home, this is how much from Games Workshop my last competitive Demon's army would have cost. However, you don't buy the stuff from Games Workshop. So generally, you get it from other places like Bad Moon Cafe. So that's how much money the models would have cost with the general discount that you get from Warhammer. £453 for my army. Did I buy £60 worth of paint? Absolutely. So, in order to play my last demon... This is very rough, right? But in order to play my Demon's army, the last competitive Demon's army that I took out at a tournament, not including the tournament ticket, but in order to play my last competitive Chaos Demon's army, Wargaming probably comes out at about 20 quid more than somebody who wants to buy a PlayStation 5 and the new God of War in order to play that. So, don't forget rules book and codex. Oh, I don't actually own those books. That's not true. I own the codex. Codex. Okay, so yeah, about 50 quid more expensive to play that army. So, in that example, and we're going... That's basically saying, you know, we're going for the AAA experience, right? If that's what we're going to call the AAA experience. Because I spent a ton more. I probably spent... And I'll do the proper maths when I do the video properly. But I probably spent £75. Now, I know that... you know, one of those things that I bought was it was a set, Atrazan's Burning Cavalcade, which is actually technically more expensive, but it does come with the Blue Horrors and the Brimstone Horrors that weren't in that list. So this is what I mean. So rules book, I don't actually ever take that to tournaments, just because you can get it in the app. That's my subscription fee. But if we're going to count that, then we have to count that, right? So, yeah. In this instance, for this example, Warhammer is more expensive than gaming. However, how much joy will I get out of that army? A lot. How much joy will I get out of God of War? A lot. But there is a finite amount. And if nothing else came out, but also if you wanted to sell the used PS5 in game compared to the painted army, okay, well, so yeah, and then there's the next thing, isn't it? Because if I sold one of my armies, theoretically I could make a profit on that, right? Somebody might be prepared to buy my Demon's army for 1,500, maybe. I mean, you know, I doubt it, but I could probably sell mine at least at the price I bought it. Maybe for a little bit more. I'm always a little bit wary of, you know, trying to oversell my own talent. But so yeah, the PS5, however, will be a lot cheaper, technically. PS5 is a bit of a weird one, though, because they are still in high demand. So you might buy it and the game, play it, really enjoy it, and then be able to sell it at the same amount that you bought it for because you can't find them anywhere else. Do you know what I mean? Now, is there ways for me to make my Chaos Demons army a lot cheaper? Well, I don't know the points in the new codex, but theoretically I could buy, you know, 2 of the new Khorne combat patrols and probably not be far off. Maybe 3. Let's call it 3. So that'll be, what are they normally? How much is a combat patrol? They're £90. 9, 8 and 27. Plus a Bloodthirster. 36. There we go. 360 quid if I wanted to run a... At this present junction. £360. Because, well, Bloodletters are what, 80 points for 10? Are they 80? Yeah, I think so. 80 points for 10. So 8, 16, 24 for 30 in a unit of 30. 240, 480, 6, 7, 20 for all of the Bloodletters from 3 combat patrols. Yeah, 3 combat patrols would probably do it. Good evening, Mr. Boob. Price of electricity these days might swing it to 40k. I don't know, you gotta have the lights on. Can't paint in the dark. Unless you go and paint outside. Or by a really big window. Good evening, Mr. Boob. Did I already say that? I don't know. I've been talking non-stop for an hour. An hour? Yeah, for 1 hour and 5 minutes. Really? Time flies. So yeah. I think it's a really interesting... it's a really interesting debate, this. Yeah. I mean, the way to really do it is to go and look at how many paints I use. But then, sort of again, there's if you're gonna min max and this, that, and the other. Like, this is why it's important to have this conversation with all of you guys, to get your ideas as well in terms of this conversation. Is that you know, there are ways to make this even cheaper, and there are ways to historically make it cheaper, if you know what I mean. Like, you know, Space Marines can often be a cheaper army to collect than something like Demons, because you have less Space Marines in an army. Tyranids, depending on the way you build them. Depending on what you build them for. Adeptus Custodes. I mean, the combat patrol for Adeptus Custodes. 2 of those in Trajan Valoris and you're done? See, at that point, if you go, oh, I'm going to get into Wargaming because I want to play Custodes, it's going to cost me 180 plus Trajan Valoris. How much is he? 26. So £206. £206 and the paints, codex, take you to about 300, 306, something like that. Could probably buy a really nice set of lights, a good camera. Mr. Hipster, did you get my new picks for Tails? Oh, I don't know. What's the conclusion so far? We're not really coming to a conclusion yet, Mr. Boob. So I'm doing a lot of kind of, this is kind of research for me with you guys to kind of see what your opinions are on it, because I am going to make a video about this, but in terms of how to make this a fair discussion. And I might use a lot of what I'm talking about here as a good foundation for going forward with that video. Can we still make Tails? I've finally got some time to paint. Yes, you should be able to still make Tails, A to the 40k homeboy. The stream is probably going to be Sunday or Wednesday. Adam is in Greenland at the moment. The last message I sent him was the day he got on a plane at Iceland. And it's still on 1 tick. So either he hates me now, or he has no way of talking to me in Greenland. So the stream for Tales will probably be Sunday or next Wednesday. I mean, it's not tonight. He off clubbing seals. No, I think he's camping. I'm starting to worry about him. Whenever I go this long without hearing from someone, I assume that they've been, you know, accosted by bears. Or something like that. I'm sure he's fine. To be honest, he's probably been posting on Instagram all this time, and I just haven't seen it because my Instagram doesn't show me anything that I want to see. Should I go and have a look? I'll go and look it up. Fascinating content again. ADR Wargaming. No, his last post was on the 16th of August. 8 days ago. Am I friends with him? Does he have a... No, I don't think he does. Anyway. His phone has been eaten by a polar bear. It might well have been. We don't know. No one can know for sure. Welcome to the second half of this stream. Making up wild rumours about what happened to Adam. If Mr. Reza Prime is still here, I shall chat to you probably tomorrow about doing the stream on Sunday or Wednesday. But yeah. So, how are we doing out there? I think it depends on what level you're comparing it to. Gaming, console, additional add-ons, e.g. headphones, battery, docking, etc. Games plus DLC, etc. Then Wargaming depends on scale of models, plus, etc. Yeah, this is why it's really, really a really interesting topic of conversation, Mr. Boob. Because, you know, I see a lot of content that, you know, gets really mad about how expensive Games Workshop is. And it's very easy to prove your conclusion if you don't test your conclusion. You know, you can find anecdotal evidence easily. You can say that, like, you know, how much is a box of Space Marines these days? I'm so out of touch. Box of Intercessors, where are you? £36. Okay. So you can say that £36 for 10 models is too much, but that's £3.60 per model. If, like me, it takes you roughly... if I was to sit and paint a Space Marine, it takes me roughly about 2 hours and a half. Maybe 3. Including drying time. So 3 hours, so 30 hours. If I was to paint each one by one, but I don't do that. So I can probably paint... I know that I can paint 10 Space Marines in 2 days worth of painting. So that, for me, is... roughly 16, yeah, it is about 30 hours actually. 30 hours of painting, which is about how long I would get out of a typical AAA game. So at that point, the individual model kit is less expensive than a AAA game. However, if I was to paint an Ultramarine, for example, which is right there, to paint it in my style, we would need Talasar blue, Ultramarines blue, Hoeth blue, Calgar blue, Corax white, Retributor armor, Lead Belcher or Iron Warriors, and then Ironbreaker, Blood Angels red, Evil Sun scarlet, Skeleton Horde, Screaming Skull, and then Gilliman Flesh, Flayed One Flesh, Black Legion, Dawnstone, Administratum Grey. So 17 paints. And paints are what? £4 on average? I'm terrible. I don't know the prices. What did I say? 17 paints. So split the difference, £4.75, and a base paint is, when I got into it, they were £1.50. Paint. Come on. Paint by type. Base. £3.70. Oh no. £2.75. Okay, £2.75. £4.75. So on average, £4. Yeah, so 17. So that's 40 plus. £7, £14, £21, £28. So £68 on paint. I was about right with my estimates there. £68 on paint plus £15 for a rattle can. Again, splitting the difference. That's probably more expensive than the rattle cans are, actually, to be fair. But so 68 plus 15, 70, 83. Plus a codex for £25, £108. I love that sometimes when you hover your mouse over... I just left my mouse to itself for a minute there. And just over the top of a emoji, and it was like, this is a face with tears of joy. That's what this is. Looking forward to Stormbringer if it gets go ahead. Yeah, I mean, Necron Royal Court for £8.99, not £70. I mean, that's ridiculous, isn't it? But then if you have paint options like speed paints from Army Painter, the mega set of speed paints costs about £60 for big bottles. eBay primers, matte black and greys about £7 to £8 each. Yeah, I mean that's fair enough. I mean, so this is I think what we need to do, and this will be the last thing we're going to talk about, is we need to establish who our customer is. Is our customer people like us who are in the know? Because if there are people like us who are in the know, we know how to do it. If they are not like us, then they're not going to know these things. And you can't assume that they will figure that out. Because they're brand new. They're not steeped in it. They don't have all the news. You know, the Warhammer magazines are a fantastic thing. But I don't know many people who've got into it by doing it. The vast majority of people I know that buy those magazines are already in the world of Warhammer, somewhat. So, who is our customer? And this is what we were talking about earlier. Our customer is somebody who, at a snapshot point in time, wants to get into a thing. But then we have to establish what that thing is. So I think maybe this video needs to be a... What can you get for premium wargaming? What can you get for sort of middle? And what can you get for like casual wargaming? And then do the same thing for gaming as well. Yeah, do a series. Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier with a friend of mine about doing it that way. Because I think it's very much worth doing that. I think there's a lot of value in that type of thing. Let me know. Do you guys think there's value in that? I think it's important. I think it's important to have this conversation. I want to get Blood Bowl and find friends to play against. Cry. I mean, Blood Bowl's great, right? You could buy the core set and be good to go. And so at that point, you have to then convert a friend, maybe, or find a local gaming group. Hello, Mr. Gwatkin. Hashtag Warhammer. I'll join you in the hashtag Warhammer. I was thinking about doing some stuff like that the other day. So, like, you know, talking about something like, you know, like cheap ways to get tools to hobby. So, like the other day, I found on Wix, you can get sample tiles. And you can get a really big one. It's like sort of like that size. It's a bathroom tile. You have no concept of how big that is. This is an iPhone, bigger than that, so like 1.5 iPhones, and it's 99p. And you can use that as a palette because it's got that nice reflective surface and it doesn't absorb everything. And you can just wash the paint off when you're done with it, rather than like a palette paper. I might even get one, but it's 99p for a sample tile. That's your palette sorted. For spraying your models, all you need is double-sided sticky tape and a stick. And then you can just pop them on and spray them. You don't even need that, but like that's the best way of doing it. But like double-sided sticky tape and a stick, again from Wix, you can get a bit of skirting or a dado rail, and it's like £3. And then you can get the double-sided sticky tape as well. Ice cream tub lid as a palette. Yes, I mean, that's recycling, which is great. You know, something to hold your water in. Do you have any mugs? Do any of you have a job where you got a mug as a gift? Because I sure did. One of them's in here somewhere. There's a mug under there. It's a Now TV mug. That got used as a painting holder for a while. There we go. So we've now got our spraying stick, we've got our tile, and we've got our water. Paints. You can use any water-based acrylic. If I go to Amazon now and I look up acrylic paint, water-based acrylic paint, Bonanza World acrylic paint pens. No, we don't want that. They're pens. Okay, Magic Fly metallic acrylic paint set, 14 colours. There we go. That is £17 for a bunch of metallic acrylic paint. You could use that to paint your models. £17 for all the metallics you'll ever need. Or you could get this set of 24 colours, or this set of 50 colours for $39.99. You can get them even cheaper. There's one here. 24 premium acrylic paint set, $8.99. You can use any of these to paint your models. You don't have to use Citadel or Vallejo or any of that kind of thing. Acrylic paint set, 10 colours, £9. You know, you can do that. With a bit of white, you can mix up some highlights. Hobby knife from Flying Tiger with 5 blades, £1.50. That's a bargain. And you can use a hobby knife, Warhipster's top tip. In fact, I should have some spare blades around here somewhere. Warhipster's top tip. You can use this side for cutting and the blunt side for mold line removing. So £1.50 from Flying Tiger with 5 blades. You've got both a mold line remover and a hobby knife in one. That's excellent value. Clippers, you can pick them up for £1.50. That is one of the things I don't know of a good enough substitute. Chewing gum makes great paint handles. Fill them with chewing gum tubs make great paint handles. Fill them with sand for some weight. Yeah, I mean even something like a can of Coke, just taking the ring pull off, and then just like filling that with blue tack. You can comfortably. I mean, cans are designed for you to hold them, right? Basing material, go outside. Or buy a bag of builder's sand. It costs like £1. Then you'll need some PVA glue. Again, PVA glue is very inexpensive. Could we set up... Do you reckon... Have a new channel of Discord and people post ideas of what they use, some research for your series. Yeah, we could do that. I could do that. Mr. Gwotkin uses a Swiss Army knife for a hobby knife. How? I mean, fair enough. You, sir, are... I mean, I've got one here. I can't imagine trying to scrape with something like that. You're a nutter. But then again, on here, you've got the... You've got this attachment. I have no idea what it's for. But you could use that to mold line remove. If you have a Swiss Army knife. You could easily use that. That's actually a really good idea. Thank you, Mr. Gwotkin. You could use the corkscrew to drill out your barrels. Interesting. I'm so ham-fisted when I'm building my models, Mr. Gwotkin. Isn't that a belt hole punch? Oh, it might be, yeah. I don't know. I've never known. You use that blade for... I mean, fair play, sir. I have to use, this because I'm just like, God, don't get it wrong. I'm a terrible builder. It takes me ages to do anything. I use the corks from the Mrs. Wine plus paper clips for model handles. I mean, this was the thing I was thinking the other day. If you get a set of hair bubbles like this one, you can use that to create some pretty good. You can use these to create painting handles. So all you need is basically something to wrap it around and then have the miniature on. And these can be really cheap. You can get them for pennies. I was thinking of as well. I've got this idea on how to build a Games Workshop spray stick using hair bubbles and balsa wood. I might do that video as well, because that whole video, that whole project would cost about £3, and a lot of swearing, and probably a bruise on the thumb. I have a lot of hair at the moment. No, that makes sense, Mr. Gwotkin. It's a very sassy hair flip. I just saw it myself. Anyway, we've been live for an hour and a half. So, Mikey's Wargaming got there before I did. I think I'm going to call it there. Thank you for all of your help tonight. This video will remain because I'm going to be doing a bunch of... I'm going to write up something that's awesome, and I might run it past all of you in Discord as well, all of my Discord members. If you'd like to become a Discord member, you can become a YouTube membership, or head to my Patreon at patreon.com/ youtube.com/Warhipster to join the conversation. Just missed the stream, Peter Collins. Oh, man. Oh, don't worry. This is a good one. It's just me talking for an hour and a half. You can do anything else that you want to whilst listening to me. It's like a podcast, but for one person. I'm glad to have you as part of this community, Mr. Eagles. You are a stalwart. You all are. Cornerstones. Without all of you, Warhipster doesn't exist. So, you know, I wouldn't be able to sit and talk to you on the internet for an hour and a half. Maybe our lives would have been worse for it. I think they would have been. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, everybody. I will see you all next week now that the heat has died down. Now that the heat has died down, we can finally get back to a normal schedule. So you shouldn't miss too many more streams, which is awesome. Might even do one on Sunday. Who knows? Might have some cool content coming out for you this week, though. Who knows? You'll find out soon enough. Anyway, make sure you tune in tomorrow to see a video on how to paint the Curseling. Yeah, I will see you all very soon in the next one. Same Warhipster time, same Warhipster channel. Happy wargaming, ladies and gentlemen. You guys are the best in the world.